Hi everybody, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's Stuart here from Hot Forex, and we're off and running. So today it's all about Heikin Ashi candlesticks. Though it might be new to some of you, new to most of you I would guess, but it's quite a straightforward, clear sort of candle pattern. And for some reason there we go, my slides weren't working. But as usual, any questions, please send them to webinars@hotforex.com afterwards or during, or if you don't get an answer to the question that you ask whilst I'm presenting. Any issues with GoToWebinar, please sort of check your end as well, and I'll obviously check this end if there's any problems. So before we get going, I need to read this this disclaimer out. The material here is provided as a general marketing communication for information purposes and does not constitute independent investment research. Nothing in this communication contains or should be considered investment advice or an investment recommendation or a solicitation for the purpose of buying or selling of any financial instrument. All information provided is gathered from reputable sources, and any information containing an indication of past performance is not a guarantee or reliable indicator of future performance. Use that knowledge that any investment FX and CFD product is characterized by a certain degree of uncertainty, and that any investment of this nature involves a high level of risk, for which you, the users, are solely responsible and liable. We assume no liability for any loss arising from any investment based on the information provided in this communication. And finally, this communication will not be reproduced or further distributed without our prior written permission. Okay, that was the admin out of the way. Most of you know me. I think I recognise most of your names here. But basically, my background is in the City of London. I've been using my own money since 1997. And I have 4 key things I always concentrate on that sort of keep me on the right side. If it's probable, I tend to take the trade. I try and keep things as simple as possible. I look at multiple time frames, but most importantly, I did this after I'd lost a lot of money. I now know myself inside out, and that's by far the most important thing, because this business is a mind game. It's a psychological business. It's not like what we're going to look at today. It's not really about charts and indicators. First and foremost, it's a psychological thing. You've got to understand yourself, accept losing, and then you can move on. But I can talk for hours about that, but more on that on other webinars. And if you haven't watched the Mind Games webinar, I can suggest that you have a look at it and spend some time thinking about yourself and writing a plan and understanding yourself. So today, it's if this works, why has this suddenly stopped again? There you go. So today we're going to look at Heikin Ashi, what it is, the background, and with great thanks to a trainer I've watched many times, a guy called Trevor Neal. He's some of these slides, some of the information, or most of the information he's taken from his slides. How to set them up on MT4. It's quite straightforward, but looked very different. But you've got to think a little bit differently. Interpreting the HA candles, Heikin Ashi candles, and the importance of the wick, as with most candle patterns, or lack of it, as we'll see, and the actual what signals it gives you, what it means, and the difference between normal candle patterns and Heikin Ashi candles. And we'll have a look at some live charts as well on 5, 15 and 1 hour, whatever time frames you'd like me to have a look at. You can see it's as effective down at the lower time frames, the 1 minute and the 5 minute, as it is at the 1 hour and the 1 day as well. It's all about trending charts, and it clarifies things nicely for you, as you can see in the higher time frames. So Heikin Ashi for scalpers. Heikin Ashi means, in a literal translation, means average bar, and that's what we're going to produce today, or that's what we're going to see. Actually, before I get going, has anybody used Heikin Ashi before, or is this completely new for everybody? Or do people have tried it and failed with it, or tried it and liked it and use it still? Does anybody use Heikin Ashi still? Or does anybody use Heikin? Completely new. I'm using it. Okay, Yazan. Okay, so Yazan, tell me what's the key thing that you like about it? And if you don't mind me, I'll tell everybody else. What's the key thing you like about Heikin Ashi candles? He's not answering me. Are you still there, Yazan? What's the key thing you like about Heikin Ashi? Staring the price. Okay, Desmond, thank you for that. Okay, all right. Well, so it's good to have some of you that are using it. And what time? The performance. Yazan's wrote here the performance and how to determine the next movement. Absolutely, yes. It's all about trending. and trend movements there. So good to have some couple of users in here, but I'm going to go through how to actually set it up on the MT4, so you guys perhaps have a little sleep while I'm doing that. It's okay. Right, so it's all about it's a weighted candlestick, so it creates an average bar, and I'm going to call that the HA as we move forward. So normal candlesticks, as I'm sure most of you know, or all of you know. I attend your webinar. All right, okay, Yazan. Okay, good. The previous one. I'm using it because of you. All right, okay. I appreciate that then. Okay, right. So normal candlesticks use the open, high, low, close philosophy. So you know, with a I should have had a little diagram here, shouldn't I? So the body of the candle is the is the main where the price is open and where the price is closed, and the top wick, if there is one, is the height of the price in that particular time frame, and if there's a lower wick, that's the low of the time frame that we're trading. So that's what a normal candlestick is, and I guess a lot of us here use those on a day-to-day basis. What the Heikin Ashi candle does, it gives us an average. It modifies this very simple formula, this open, high, low, close, the OHLC formula. So we have a modified formula, and I always think it's good to understand what you're using to trade with and understand both its pros and its cons, and that's why I always go into the background of these things rather than just showing you on a chart or you just applying a chart. And I would strongly recommend any indicator that you use or any chart pattern you use, you really understand what it's showing you. So for instance, if you're using a line chart, understand that it's probably the closing price or the opening price or the mid price, but understand what it is. Okay, because some people say, well, it looked like on my chart that my price was hit, my target was hit, but you didn't close the trade. Well, it's probably because it's it's the open or the mid price, and the close price didn't get up there close enough to it. So understand intimately what you're using when you're using these indicators, because there's thousands of them to choose from. So use the ones that work for you. So Heikin Ashi just modify the standard setting. Okay, so let me just go through this quite slowly because it's quite significant. Okay, so the open point on a Heikin Ashi Heikin Ashi close point, it's a very simple formula, but it's important that you understand it. So it gives you the average price of the current bar. So that takes the open plus the high plus the low plus the close, so the 4 key prices, and then divides it by 4. And that gives you the average price of the current bar. That is fairly straightforward, isn't it? So the Heikin Ashi open takes the Heikin Ashi open figure, we've got the formula we've got here, of the previous bar, and it equals the Heikin Ashi close of the previous bar divided by 2. So it gives this, we call this the midpoint of the previous Heikin Ashi bar. Okay. So the Heikin Ashi high, the high point you see on the candle is the max, so it's the high. So it's the high of the Heikin Ashi open and Heikin Ashi close. Okay, so that's the highest value in the candle, or in the set, as mathematicians would call it. And conversely, the low is the opposite of that. So the low, the Heikin Ashi low on the candle, is the minimum point. So it's the low of the Heikin Ashi open and the Heikin Ashi close. So that gives it's the lowest point in the candle. Okay. Well, that makes sense, and that's the background of it. So it's very different. So it uses different formula to create, instead of the simple open, close, high, low, it gives you these average prices, these midpoints, highest point, and lowest point. So it's a weighted type candle. It's a bit like comparing a simple moving average, which just adds up the total period and divides it by the number, compared to like the exponential moving average, which weights the last few bars more importantly than the first few bars. And that's sort of what Heikin Ashi is compared to when you're comparing Heikin Ashi candles to normal candles. Okay, so it's constructed just like a normal candle, but it looks different. Okay, it works well on many time frames, and what I like about it is it takes a lot of the noise away, and it works well on the smaller time frames as well as the higher time frames. So you can use it on the daily, all the way down to 5 and 1 minute, as I said, and it's good for scalpers because it works quite well on 5, 15-minute candles. That's what we're going to concentrate on today. So just like, again, you can set it up as you want, but I have it set up for white is up and red is down, so because that works for me. But again, as you when you load it onto your MT4, you can set it up how you want it set up. Okay, I have mine set up that way around. I also have the mid-price volume line chart on, and we'll have a look at that in a minute. Okay, so it really is, as I've put on the top of this chart here, let the trend be your friend. And as you all know, that have listened to me before, I'm a trend trader. I'm looking for turns in the market, and although I don't use Heikin Ashi on a day-to-day basis, it very much fits in with my mindset, and it's sort of because of this trending idea around it. You know, if there's any question about it's not a trend, it keeps you out. That's one of the good things about it as well. And remember, good traders protect their capital, so you don't jump in. Even in these short time frames, you don't jump in. It keeps you out of the market. If there isn't a clear signal, don't take it, leave it. But it's great once the trend starts, you can add to your position and just trail your stop loss up. And again, that's what's good with the Heikin Ashi approach on these shorter time frames as well. But it also, I say, it keeps you out because it's very, very clear. Is there a trend? Is there not a trend? Are we changing direction as the trend stops? Very, very simple. And that's, again, one of the big things about it, and that's what I really like about it. It keeps things very, very clear. It takes a lot of the thinking away, because sometimes, a lot of the time in trading, you beat yourself rather than the market beating you. It's, as I said at the beginning, it really is very much a mind game. And the problem with trading the shorter time frames is that you're sat in front of your screen a lot of the time, and you're trying to think, and you're overthinking it sometimes, and sometimes it's you beat yourself rather than the market beating you. So let's just go through how we set it up on an MT4 platform. I'll read this through now, the text, and then we'll go through it when I bring the charts up. So it's a simple, like opening a new chart. You just then find the navigator key under view, so that's Control N, and you'll see the pop up lots of things you can add to your chart, and one of those will be the Heikin Ashi. So you double click on that, and then just check the properties of how you want it to set up. Remember, with MT4, it defaults to the black background with a green candle. So you adapt the and unclick the things that you don't want. So as I say, it's normally defaults here. It defaults to the open, high, close type of bar chart with a grid on it. So I take the grid off and obviously change the open, high, close to the Heikin Ashi candles, and then I actually leave the line chart on as well. But it's up to you whether you want it that set. I know many people that use it without anything else at all. There's other people that add other indicators like stochastics. And again, the stochastics sometimes can be good for keeping you out of trades as well. But I tend to use it with just the candles and the line chart on it as well. See where if it just gives me an idea whether we're going up or down, or it's actually changed as well. It sort of gives that extra confidence. And as I say, it's great though as a standalone. That's what I really like about it. It's a great as I've written down here. It's great as a standalone trending tool for multiple time frames, and that's what's a great appeal for me on here. Yazan's just written here. Do you mind if I read this out, Yazan? I'm sure you don't. It says it works for me 80%, but not all the time. But Yazan, you're absolutely right. Nothing works all the time, and there isn't such a thing as, you know, the holy grail of trading or the holy grail of indicators. There isn't such a thing. It doesn't exist. Don't waste your time tweaking indicators. I did that when I started. I remember playing with stochastics, thinking, well, if I just change that to, I'll just move that one figure and that one figure, it'll just be a bit better. It's really not worth the effort. You know, the default settings that come on MT4 or any other trading platform are usually good enough. And remember, most people that are trading use these default settings. So again, you're with the crowd or with the trend, but just don't think, well, I can beat the crowd just by tweaking it a little bit. It really isn't worth it in my experience, to be honest. And it's just, you just got to, as I said at the beginning, this business is a psychological business, and accepting losing is one of the key steps you all have to take. Yazan's he's writing lots here. This is good. So it works great on the daily time frame to know the trend either up or down. Absolutely, yes. So that's another way of using it. I know people that use it like that. So like if you've got a strong trend like we've had on the indices, for instance, over the last whatever months, you can see a very, very clear, nice trending, indices as go, and then you see it turn over very, very aggressively in the last few days. So yes, so if you look at it at the higher time frame, you can drill down and use perhaps other indicators sometimes, or other candle patterns if you wanted to on the intraday stuff. But I like it on the intraday stuff. excuse me, on the intraday stuff as well. So let's crack on with staring at all these things. So how to interpret the candles. Okay, so as I said at the beginning, it's not a traditional candlestick pattern. You're looking for a strong trend. Well, I should say for, shouldn't I, not through. A strong trend to stay in whilst always managing your risk, and that's what the trailing stop loss does with it on as well. So you just have to look at it a little bit different, and I'll explain one of the key disadvantages with it as well in a minute. But let's just go through these key advantages. But just like traditional candlesticks, the size of the body equals strength, and as with traditional candle patterns, size matters, and the doji candle patterns still have the same impact. It's still this idea of balance, indecision. Are we going up? Are we going down? So again, it's very, very clear, and it looks very clear with the Heikin Ashi candle as well, because you have wicks up and down as well. So basically, as the candle bodies, the size of the candle gets weaker or starts to change colour from white to red or red to green, it's looking for a correction or a reversal in the possible trend. Okay, and so you should be looking to either change your position or close your position as that happens. So it's usually handing over to we're going from one direction to another, or we're not going anywhere. Sometimes it can flash from red to white to red within a couple of bars, again depending obviously on the time frame. So it's the size and the body size that's really important here, and the length of the wicks as well. So the key thing with Heikin Ashi, one of the key benefits, and one of the things that really jump off the chart at you when you start using them, is that these strong trends, when we're in a strong trend, they have no wick. Okay, that's the key thing. That's a key thing here to take away from this. No wick is key, and that's what you're looking for when you've got a strong trend. Yazan, can I read this out, Yazan? I hope you don't mind. I'm blowing my own trumpet here, but he also uses Fibonacci with it. Okay, that's, as I say, it's great standalone, but you can also add little indicators, as with other candle patterns. But Yazan's wrote here as well: since your last webinar, I gained more money than before. You are amazing to introduce us to this. Well, I'm just doing my job, Yazan, and thank you very much for those very kind comments. But let's crack on for all those of you that are new to this. So it's all about the no wick. So for uptrends, you don't want any wick to the downside. You want a flat bottom, or a shaved candle as we call it. The trend is strong, so you want to initiate a trade, or get into a trade, or stay in the trade until a down candle or a bottom wick appears. Okay, and so if we're going to go down, we want the same thing. We don't want any wick to the upside. So a trend, an ideal trend has a big candle with no wick at the bottom, and perhaps a wick at the top, but no wick to the bottom. So that's a strong uptrend. And if we're going to go down, obviously the candles will be an uptrend would obviously have white candles with my charts with no wick to the bottom, and a downtrend would be the opposite of that. So we'd have a big red candle with a wick to the downside but no wick to the upside. And that very, very clearly comes on the chart, and you can see that when we have a look at the charts in a minute. So let's just compare it for a minute with standard candle patterns. So this is a traditional. This is the key disadvantage you need to understand quite clearly before we jump in. That this is the everything you said so far about Heikin Ashi candles are great, and they sounds like this is going to be very easy to trade. Well, one of the key things with it is the price. You've got to be very, very clear with the price. Remember, Heikin Ashi candles, the Heikin Ashi close, like we said, it's a weighted price, so it's not the real live price. So the traditional candlesticks. So here we got, I hope you can see this. Here we got the same 5 minutes here on the euro dollar from this morning. I just put these on. As you can see, the price here at 120, I can't remember what that is, 123.92 here was the close of that 5 minute candle there. As you can see here, the same 5 minute candle on Heikin Ashi, the price is up here. So 123.92 here is there, way out of where the candle's saying, but that's again suggesting, so we've been short here. See, there's no wicks here on this one. We'll do this more with some live charts, but you can see here we've gone, and the green line is just the price, so we've gone down. That's why I have the green line. So we've gone, so clear, entry would have been about here, and then we moved down for the next 5, 10, 15 minutes before we turn around. So that would have been taking you out of the short position around here. So this is now saying this is potentially going long. And as you can see here, with the traditional candles, it's perhaps not as clear that this is going to go down because we've got wicks and indecision up here, whereas these two clearly no wicks above it. So it's these three here, sorry, it's those three there. Is clearly, this is still indecision, but that one's already turned. So here we're ahead of the standard candle patterns. Okay, so you can see there's no clear wick there. So we've got this movement down, and then here we've got this turnaround. You've got a heads up here already that this move down is finished. Okay, so I mean the traditional candle will give you that as well, because we've it's plotted this fractal low. But remember, this fractal low on this candle wouldn't have been plotted until this, because it doesn't plot until this candle here is complete. So whereas here you would have already got this heads up that this is already turned round within this period here, that this is stopped. We've got a wick now, so stop. So a strong trend, just to repeat, so a strong trend has no upper wicks on the way down, like we got here, and no lower wicks on the way up, which we haven't actually got that yet, but that looks like that was starting on that 5-minute candle. So it's, remember, it's a weighted close, so the price you get in is somewhat perhaps away from what the candle pattern is. So that's a key thing to have a look at. Okay, so we'll come on to some I've got these actually on, here we are. I thought I'd put them in as bigger, so I should have explained it on here. So let's just go through that again. So here we can see same time, so 23.92. actually this is 23.95, so it's a bit after, wasn't it? I just, so we're about here, so this has obviously happened afterwards. But as you can see, this one is still got wicks to the north. Here there's a little one there, but that one's gone there, so that would be your entry. You know, follow that down, follow that down, follow that down, follow that down. So the way we trade this, and I'll explain this on the live one, what I do, you then trail your stop loss to half the previous candle. So if you get in on the close here, your stop loss would be sort of half the previous candle back up here, and you trail it down. So you had a trailing, this is a very much a trailing stop loss type approach, especially in these shorter time frames. So you take your pips, take your pips, take your pips, and as the candle gets bigger, more robust, you're feeling more confident on the move, or what you could do is then add to your position. Okay, so if you'd added to your position here, because this was bigger than this one becomes smaller, so perhaps you then reduce that position you've just added. So I mean, that becomes a bit more of a sophisticated way of trading, but that's why what a lot of people do when they're trading, especially in the longer term. You know, if we're looking at this at the end as an end of day candle, you know, you add to it then, or the end of an hour, or the end of a 4 hour. But here on the 5 hour, and again you do the same thing with 5 minutes, but obviously you've got to be in and out much more quickly, and obviously the spread's the same whatever time frame you're trading. So again, here you can see how perhaps I should have superimposed them on the same chart. That's what I should have done. Well, perhaps we'll do that if we can do that when we trade live. So there you see the same time frames, bit clearer. See how clearer this one is? I don't know if you agree with me, but that's a very clear move, and perhaps not as clear as that, although that is a clear downtrend here, and we've broken through the midpoint. That looks like a 20 period, isn't it? Bollinger Band, that would be your entry, and we could have got that on down there, but it's, you get much more perhaps a clearer view there with no so there's a bit of indecision on that first one. See how a typical sort of indecisive doji there. Yazan, the green line here is the actual line chart, so I leave it on. It just gives me an indication that we're still definitely, it's in line, because this is the price. So as you can see, that the real price is there, 193.92, because that's in line with the green line. So that's just why I leave it on. Sometimes it gives me an idea that we're still pointing down. So for instance, at this point here, this would have started to go up, and this was, as this was forming, I was thinking perhaps it's time to get out of this one, but then it went down again. So but the slope is a bit weaker, so we're still down, but then it turned around here, so I would have been getting out here as this turned white and as the line started to point up. That's the only reason I add it. I'll show you in a minute how to add it. You add it when you don't take it off, basically. It's when you set it up. Okay, we'll come to that in a minute. Okay, so let's just give you these trading signals. So the white body candle with no lower wick means a strong trend. Get in, or let your profits run, add to your position. A white bodied candle in an uptrend, so you add to long position and exit shorts. Okay, so if it suddenly changed. If you've got one candle, a small body surrounded by upper and lower wick, again, that's, as with standard candle patterns, that's suggesting that the trend may be changing, like we've got here. Trend may be changed, but wait to get out. I tend to, as soon as this appears, that's good enough for me to close that short position. But confirmation is very clear here, but you might have lost some of the pips you'd gained on this way down if you'd wait for this one to close. So The indecision, it tends to come quite quickly, and it tends to be a series of them. You tend to switch from one colour to another, and then it changes around, and then sometimes it can switch to short, and it doesn't actually go, and it turns to long again, and this happens a lot of the time. So that's the middle one. Okay, so this indecision, just like a standard doji candle. So red bodied candles are down. Add to your short position, or enter your short position, or exit your long position. Again, red bodied candles with no lower wick, strong trend, and let the shorts run or add to your short positions. Okay, so like with normal candles, short is down, no wicks to the north is good, we've got a strong trend. White candles, no wicks to the south, we've got a strong trend going up, so you add to your position, or let your profits run. Don't panic and don't close out. And the other good thing about Heikin Ashi candles is that because the price is not close to the candle itself, you tend to focus on the candle rather than the price itself, because the price tends to be, when you go in long, tends to be above the candle, and when you go in short, tends to be below where you've got in. So you focus on the candle pattern very much more. So certainly that's what happens with me when I'm trading with Heikin Ashi. It takes away the focus from the actual live price for me, and that's another reason I like it. But again, that's just something that triggers for me. It might not work for everybody. So let's have a look. Let's just bring that in. Is there any questions at this point? Is that very clear? It should be as straightforward, hopefully, as trading normal candles. Just think a little bit differently. Remember that you're dealing with a weighted candle pattern rather than a standard candle pattern. Any questions before I bring in the live charts and you can have a look at it? All very quiet. No. Okay. So let's just bring in. Okay, let's just bring in. I've not. Let me just see if I can. I can't. Can I? I've just realised I've. I'm going to have to shrink this down because I've got recording the wrong size. Sorry about that, guys. Let me just. Right. Okay. So hopefully you can see. What can you see? Can you see all four there? No, you can't. Yeah. Okay, because the viewing screen's the wrong size. So let me just go through how to set it up. Those of you that have not used this before. So file. You can't see that, can you? So file, new chart. So let's just let's do $yen. So this is a standard default, which you all should see. Okay. I forgot I'm not using the whole screen, so sorry about that. So this is a standard default when you open a new chart. Yes, everybody should be aware of that. So next thing is to open up the terminal, not the terminal, wrong one, is the navigator. So Control N, and then we get all these new things we can add here. Okay, so what we're looking for is Heikin Ashi. So we click on Heikin Ashi, and then we get this little box here coming up. So custom indicator, Heikin Ashi. So this is a standard defaults from MetaQuotes. So this is what it sets. We got we're importing the external, so we leave that clicked. This is a standard default setting again. So we got red for bear, white for bull. Somebody's just dropped €10 on my desk. I don't know what that's about. And that's the standard setting. So if you want to change these, feel free. These are my settings. I'm not going to change them now. This is the width of the wicks and the cap bars. So visualization. So again, as the default. So we just click OK, and then that imports the Heikin Ashi template onto this $yen 1 hour chart. Okay. So let's just zoom in a bit, and you see what we've got here. So this is, if you zoom in a bit, you can see it's a bit messy. So what we've got here, because this is the default, so we look at the properties. So I take the grid off. Again, it's up to you how you want to do it. You take the grid off, and on here it's defaulted because on the default in MT4 comes out as the open, high, low, close bar chart. So if we change that to a line chart, it takes those little green lines to this green line, those little green bars to a green line. So Yazan, that's all I do. I just leave this on. Most people take this off, but I just leave it on. Okay. So that's the 1 hour setup, and that's it basically. I mean, if you wanted to add indicators, you can add indicators like you would with any other any standard candlestick pattern. But the big caveat here is, remember that the mathematics for the indicators now are based on the weighted candles, not the standard setting. Okay, so they'll be different. So if you're going to compare your Heikin Ashi chart here with, let's just insert something. Let's just insert I don't know, indicator. Let's insert languages. Insert indicator, insert I don't know, let's put an oscillator on for a change. Let's put on a one I don't normally use. Let's put on a MACD one. Okay, so the MACD indicator on this chart would look slightly different to the MACD if we had a standard chart. So let me just do that, just to emphasize the point that you've got to be careful when adding other indicators, which is one of the reasons I don't have any other indicators on it. Okay, so let me just quickly bring up another new chart. Let's bring up the dollar yen, the same chart for the same time frame with the this next to it. Oh, I'm sorry, I used the whole screen today. For some reason the video is only capturing about 2/3 of my screen today. So this is the standard chart. So let's just put the standard candles on it away from that. Let's zoom in a bit like we got there. Where's it going? 26th of. This is the 1 hour going back to 27th of May. So let's zoom in a bit more. So something like that. So yeah. So if we insert the indicator, what did we put on? We put the MACD on, didn't we? MACD. Still standard settings, but it's based on these candles now, so it looks slightly different. Okay, there you go. You can see that. Actually, let's come back to 26, isn't it? So let's zoom in on that one. So as you can see, that one's gone all the way back for some reason. It's proven me a liar now. There we are. So it looks slightly different, although it's the same general trend. Okay, so just bear that in mind. See how much higher these 12 o'clock MACD. Let's just bring that down so we're actually comparing like for like. So very subtle differences. Okay, strong trend there, clearly a strong trend there in the 1 hour chart here for the yen over the last 3 hours. So that's a very nice strong trend developed there. We got our first heads up there. Similarly here we got, you know, just with the candle patterns we got a similar. We weren't quite as sure there perhaps, were we? Because see how those two, let me just bring that in, make it as big as possible. Again, see one of the advantages there, the Heikin Ashi candle there. So on this standard setup here, if we're just using price action, so we'd been going up. Now we had a big shakeout, a big down candle, and then this candle was suggesting at the close of it, we weren't sure what was happening because it had closed from a positive point of view. It had closed at about 50% of the previous candle, so not quite sure. Had a wick to the north, so perhaps that was suggesting it may be going down, so it's a bit indecision there. This candle, this is 1, 2, 3, see this one was still clearly red and clearly indecisive, so our strong start would be this candle. But this one on the Heikin Ashi, this one here at 12, is that the 12 o'clock one? 12 o'clock one, that's the 12 o'clock one, is much more positive in a sense, because although there's very little wick to the bottom, or no wick to the bottom. Here we've got a very little wick to the bottom, very little wick. So again, but it's strong. It's like it could be the start of a 3 white soldiers, which in fact it was, because you've got 1, 2, and then a big one up. But here it gives us a bit more confidence. So that was, a bit more confidence perhaps than this. Okay, just as it purely stands. But again, it's all about interpretation. It's all about how you think. But that is clearly a change in direction, and that is probably a change in direction when we closed here. That we're back long, because that was being then changed out. So, it's indifferent. But see how the big, clear change in colour. I just find it a bit more definite when we're just using nothing else, just the pure price action of the candle. So that's a clear trend there. So get in here and off we go. Actually, this is good. Let me just demonstrate this why we've got this here. So there we go. That's the 2. Let's just get rid of that one. Is everybody happy with that? I'll close this standard one. Okay, let's get rid of that one. Okay, so here, this one we've just put in here on the 1 hour. So clear change in direction. So let's just run through as we got this up. Let's just run through this. Let's take the indicators. Let's take the MACD off. Just make it clear. Okay, close. So right, and I'll get onto the short time frames at the moment, but let's just demonstrate this. Well, I've got this new chart here on the 1 hour time frame, and just go through again what we've just been talking about. So let's try and fill the screen there. Okay, so here, let's zoom in a bit. Actually, I'm not zoom out. So as you can see here, actually that's not. We've got a lot of indecisiveness here. So although this is going down, there we've gone sideways. Let's start from here. So here, a clear, if we go back a bit, a clear strong uptrend has started whatever time it was, and that's with most candles. It wants to show me the, so there, so whatever time this was last night we've been sort of drifting up, big indecision there, little uptrend there, so we would add to it. So we'd get in here, and our stop loss would be the bottom of the previous candle. So we'd get in here, and our stop loss would be down here, and then we trail our stop loss up as that goes. Excuse me. The change in direction was suggested by the wick appearing at the bottom of this candle. Now then, you can either decide to get out as that trend has stopped after only 3 candles, or you could have waited till then. Obviously that gives you the heads up first. So no decision. Is that going to be short? Well, possibly. That looks like a short one, doesn't it? But then the next one wasn't confirmed, so we wouldn't take that. We've got a change of direction again. As we've had this chopping about, and as it's whatever time it is, we're now at 7 o'clock. Remember, the volume starts to drop now at 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. For me, I would wait till that one confirmed the entry. So you can see the very small wick, but good enough to look like we were turning, because the green lines have bottomed out here as well. This is why I leave the green lines on Yazan. So that was that. So that's entry there. So our stop loss is here. So we enter here, and we take this long. What's happened after the next hour? Still long. So we either add or bring our stop loss up to here. So we up. So our stop loss is here, so we can add to it. We're still going up, still going up. The slope has slowed down a bit, which is good, because this was a bit steep. So this is a nice, steady overnight movement. So here, next one, let's zoom in a bit. Next one, we've got where are we now? We're now at 2 o'clock in the morning. So we've had the day change. So the day is closed here. We've continued long into the beginning of the next day. Here we've got, let me take that off for you so you can see that. Here our first wick appears here, so this is question mark, okay? We haven't changed colour, but we have got a wick to the south. So we could either make a decision to reduce your lot size, cash in some of your profits, and wait and see what happens to the next candle. Well, the next candle is still strong, and the wicks reduce, so we might have closed some of our position there, but we're still long. And that one's still suggesting long, and it's got some more emphasis. Okay, this is looking good. Wick body size now is reduced here, but I remember our stop loss is all the way up here now. Next one, oh, bit of indecision. What's happened there? What's happened there? So where are we now? We're now at 6 o'clock in the morning. Europe's waking up. Okay, the European traders are coming in. Asia's closing. Remember trading the dollar yen. We've had a good run overnight. Red candle, indecision, close your long trade, basically. Change direction, change of colour. It's as simple as that. Follow the rules, get out. Okay, when's the next entry? Well, there isn't one, because we've got candles to the north and south. Sorry, we've got wicks to the north and south. Big wick to the south there, still red. We've switched to white, but we're not sure where we're going. See how we flick from long, short, long, short. So here we're short, then it would suggest perhaps long because we've gone white, but we're not taking anything because there's no trend. So again, the beauty of Heikin Ashi for me is it keeps you out, and you can apply this to any time frame. Okay, your 5 minutes, your 15 minutes, it's the same principle. Obviously 5 minutes it changes a lot quicker. So here, this is the first heads up of some interest here, and we got to 11 o'clock. So it's 11 o'clock candle, it closes at 12. Are we going short? Well, it looks quite positive, doesn't it, at this point? So we'd enter there. Our stop loss would be back up here, but remember, this is just the first. So we've been lots of indecision all morning, from 6 through to 12, 11. We've had indecision, not sure what we're going. So first suggestion, actually we're going back down. We're going to retrace some of this gain from overnight, and in fact we didn't. We'd have been stopped out on that one. This would have suggested perhaps we get in, because we've been stopped out and it's reversed. So we've gone from red, gone to white again. But remember, we're now in the teeth of the European session now. It's now lunchtime on the 27th, and the European session's open. So we're long again now. Our stop loss is here, long, long. This is looking great, and then all of a sudden we reverse quite aggressively. So again, we'd have closed out that one here. So we'd have got in here. We'd have made a perhaps well, our stop loss would have been there. Yeah, we might have made a very little profit on that one. It looks quite a good move because of this reverse is quite aggressive. We'd have been stopped out there, probably for a few pips. Or no pips, I'm not quite sure, can't really tell from that. But as you can see, red, so we've indecision again. Let's move forward. So nothing happening, nothing big indecision. See the length of the wick, very, very small, very, very small candle, a body of the candle, but huge wicks to the north and the south. Indecision, 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 possible trend change. So we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours again, sideways, no indecision. And then we get in again at the close, sort of whatever time that is. Yeah, so this is 10 o'clock, the 9 o'clock candle, the 10 o'clock session as things calm down into the evening. So that's a short position, short, short, short. Stay short, although you know the energy's gone, but obviously we've run through the end of day there, and much smaller body of the candle. So. As the energy ran out, and again the price is already turned around here. That's why again I like the green line. So this is suggesting perhaps close that short position. Definitely close the short position on the next candle because we've suddenly got wicks to the north and south, and we've changed colour. So it's a definite get out. Okay, is it going long? Well, possibly yes, because there we go. We've got an indicator. So we're getting there. Looks good, but then next candle's much smaller. The wick's lower than the previous high, so not sure. Still short, still long. Changing direction again, taken out of that one. No direction because we've got wicks to the north. No trade. Possibly going long, but wait for a confirmation. Didn't happen. Sideways, wicks to the north, wicks to the south, and again. Where are we? We'll probably start the European session again. Oh no, the European session started about, so it was the indecision was here, wasn't it? All right, so there you go. That was the start of the European session. They were testing it to go south. We weren't sure what was going on whenever we were the 23rd. Okay. So again, it's simple price action. You don't need to know what news is going on the day. You just the candles tell you what to do. Okay, they keep you the right side. And again. Change of direction, that's suggesting, I mean, if you were aggressive you could have got in there, but there'd been a lot of, you know, not sure where we were going there. You might have waited till this one here, up here, 105.78, and off we go. And we're now at 105.93, and again, you still use your common sense testing that 106 level, which we've had a go in the last hour. So dollar yen's had a go at 106 drop. So now we have an open long position here on this 1 hour chart. Okay, and honestly, it's as simple as that. And you can, but what you have to do is simply apply the same logic to the time frames that you're trading. And whether you're, whether you're, what time is it? Quarter to. So whether you're a scalper and trading off the hour, trading off the 5 minute, trading off the 1 minute, it's all about your ability to react quickly, change direction. Here we're talking about changing direction every hour. Obviously, with the, let me just move that down. With these 15 minutes and these 5 minute charts, you're looking about changing direction every 5 minutes. Let's just drill them all. These are all set at 15 minutes, so let's just drill them down to the 5 minutes so we can see some live action. So again, when you're scalping, you obviously need to look at the type of account you have and the type of assets that you're trading. You want to trade obviously assets with very tight spreads, so we need to be looking at the high volume ones. So the euro, the yen, the pound is quite good. Dollar CAD's not great, but I stick it on my. I do trade it because it's against the dollar. Aussie is good as well. You could even have gold on there. Swiss franc has been quite good today on the 1 hour, certainly on the 5 minutes. So here we go. So what's actually happening now? Let's just bring this one up. So let's just bring up the. Is that gonna? No, that's right. I did that wrong, didn't I? I meant to. Let's minimise that again. Can't believe I've not used the wrong stuff. So let's just bring up euro. Euro is saying we're not doing anything, isn't it? Clearly. Actually, I don't need to do that. Hopefully you can see all these big enough. So euro is saying, well, we've been long and now we've gone south, so we're out of that long position. Here we've got, here on the Swiss, it looks like we have a short position confirmed on here. Indecision there. So is it starting? So this is suggesting we may be. Okay, so you should have got in here. So this would would be a short position now. And now then, see how the live price is down here, down here. So this is, you would have got in here, and our stop loss would be back up here somewhere, the top of the previous candle. Okay, so this is our short position. Actually, you could have entered this now because you've got the confirmation on the previous candle. Okay, so you would have entered there and entered this one now. So let's just see how that. So let's just do this on this demo. So we're short here on that one. Okay, remember this is just a demo cat. So we've got in here, and obviously as ever it's retraced against. But there we go. So but that's tying up nicely. That looks like a short position. The yen here on the 5 minute. And this, remember, that's just simply on what we're seeing. Okay, so here let's just put that one back. So the yen is suggesting we've been up, but this is forming now, so this is not sure. Pound looks like we may be forming a candle, but we've been up and indecision. So let's wait till this one closes. That one's looking like that could be a short. Remember, the candle's really small on this dollar yen one, so perhaps it's not as powerful as we've got here on the pound. Nothing going on the Aussie because we got wicks to the north and the south. We've just changed colour, so again that's looking like a change in direction, but wait, even at this level. So here we've had a very strong, here on the CAD we see we've had a strong move down, nice trend, out the trend. Are we turning around? Well, possibly. That would have been a heads up. So this is looking like a long position potentially. So let's just see how that, again, let's just take that. And as you can see, this is one of the issues we have here. Okay, so here we have the price here, but because of the spread, you know, we're getting in here, so we're already out of the money with these. So again, remember, when you're scalping, you want these. That's why I said to you about the CAD. It hasn't got the best spread, and this is just a demo account, remember, so the spread won't be great. So let's just see how we go. So the candles are telling us that the dollar CAD's looking to go long in the next few minutes, these 5 minutes, and Swiss is also is reversing, looking to go short. So it suggests that there's some action in the dollar, which is sort of typical at this time of the day. It's nearly 3 o'clock server time, so the Americans are waking up. The early traders are in. Okay, so let's just. I've got some questions coming in. Will you be able to share the PowerPoint with the rules to use this strategy after today's webinar? Ricardo, yes, you'll get a recording of this webinar, and I can send you, if you're interested, I can send you the PowerPoint, the PDFs as well. Yeah. Better to start with H2 to determine the trend either up or down, then apply to enter the market with the trend with 5. Absolutely, Yazan. I've just used it as a just pure the price we can see at the moment. But yes, you use multiple time frame to see what we're going. Absolutely, yes, absolutely no problem at all. So obviously, what we're getting here is a suggestion here on. Remember, the shorter time frames tend to react more quickly than the high time frames. So if we went to this. So again, you see that trend hasn't completed. That would be a losing trade because we've this one's suggesting there's a wick to the north here as this one's completing, so we might be looking to close that out. So that trend hasn't closed, so we'll be looking to perhaps close that one. We've got the wick, so let's get out of that one while we can. Okay, and you can see it's moving back up here. Here we're still okay. So we've had these, although we're out in the money because we're up here, the price is here, and we got in here. But that's trading. That's because of the spread on the dollar CAD. What was I saying? Yes, I was going to show what Yasan was talking about. So here, we jumped in here on the 5 minute. But what was the higher time frame telling us? Where were we? So the higher time frame, we've gone short here, but in the higher time frame is just perhaps still unsure. So it's ran up, and we're turning around in the 15 minutes. So if you're trading this 15-minute candle, you haven't actually got the entry yet because the 15-minute won't close for another 10 minutes, but it's suggesting it may be going short. But as you can see, the real price is sort of flattened out, so that might keep you out up on that time frame. So if we go up another step, we go up to say the 30-minute, we're still, as you can see here, we're in a uptrend. We got a bit of indecision. We're uptrend, but with some indecision, the wicks are appearing, and here in the 30-minute, that uptrend has turned around. So we've got an entry down on the 5-minute. Because we've turned around here. On the 15-minute, we're not sure because we've had an indecision candle. It looks like we're going to go short on the 15-minute, and the 30-minute is still undecided at the moment. So that's the beauty of the multiple time frame analysis. And then if we went down to the 1 minute, let's just go down to the 1 minute. we've already had the turn there. We've had a bit of indecision, turn down, it didn't happen, indecision, bit not sure. So that's what the 1 minute's telling us. It's not, it's just juggling about. So this entry on the 5 minute may or may not come out, and the candles now is suggesting that we get out of that one, because we've got a wick to the north. But let's wait until this completes. But that's what that's looking like. It's looking like we've definitely got a wick, so we get out on the close of that, or we can wait till bring our stop loss down to the close of here and keep it open. But the candle pattern is telling us to get out because the trend hasn't established. We've had it 1, 2, and now it's broken because we've got this wick. But let's wait till it's closed, well, as soon as the wick appeared, you could have closed that one as we saw before when it first suggested. And again, the price itself has turned around, so we've gone down, turned around. So that's going to be a losing one here on this 5 minute on that Swiss franc one. The CAD is looking a wee bit better, although the spread's the problem here, and it's might be turned down. So that's it's as simple as that. That's all you need to do, and apply it to the time frames that work for you. Yazan, better not to open a position in this stage. Right, I'm not quite sure what you mean. You mean on these actual live charts in these time frames? I'm not quite sure what you mean, but the idea is, we had enough heads up. So again, here now we see the pound seems to be confirming a short position here on the 5 minute, because we've had a candle here, and our entry's down here now. So we're at the lows of these recent candles. So this is looking like a short position, and then so that's a confirm. So the pound looks like that's going short. We've completed here. We're still out the money here on CAD, but it's still looking up, but we're running out of energy. There you go. As we just said, we got this huge indecision on the second candle, so should have closed that. We would have closed that this dollar Swiss one here as we saw the wick appear to the north of the wick of the candle there. Okay, so let's just close that one out anyway. Anyway, I don't need to do that. But you see what I'm saying? As soon as the wick appears, it's blown the trend that we've sort of established here. Okay, so here and again, because we've had such a big move here on dollar CAD, the likelihood is that we'll get at least a retrace sort of to this sort of level up here. So this one's looking okay. So pound would have been an entry there. Euro dollar, indecision. Don't do anything. Yen possibly, but we've been up, indecision, down, didn't happen. Small candles, not much energy. So dollar yen's clearly indecisive at the moment. Aussie, similar setup. Wicks to the north and south after I hadn't had this nice steady run up from 2 o'clock while we've been talking. So we've now got indecision, not sure where it's going. Let's just bring in some others. So Euro yen here has had a nice up run on the 15 minute. What's the 5 minute? 5 minute showing us. So 5 minute. This is the up run, indecision. Another final up run, and it's turned over. Wicks to the north, south. South wicks change colour, so we'd be out of that up run there. If you'd have closed it out on the close of that candle there, run that for 20 minutes. Nice one. So pound yen. So pound yen here at 15 minute has looked good for the last hour or two. Nice strong trend there after again change. You can see the big indecision there. Up, not quite sure, indecision, down, didn't come off, waited for that, got in there, and off we run, and now we're out of that little run there, on that 15 minute run. 5 minute would have been much more volatile. There we go. Run up, indecision, run up, and we got the heads up at that point there. We got out of that one there, looking to change. We've changed direction with much smaller. See how the strong candle, stronger candle, strong candle, weaker candle than the previous three. Indecision, close out the long trade, definitely looking to, and then all of a sudden it's gone short, but then we bounced back up. So indecision, so that's negated that on that 5 minute move. So again, nice moves there on pound, yen, euro. Again, it doesn't really matter what your asset is. Obviously the key thing, if you're taking these shorter time frames, is just to concentrate on the ones with a tight spread if you do want to scalp. But yes, I mean as Up on the higher time frames, it's, as with most candle patterns, you know, you've got more time, it's more comfortable. So let's just take this. Somebody's just asked about, can I use this to confirm my trend on a 4-hour high trend? Absolutely, of course you can. Of course you can. So let's just, it doesn't really, I say, it doesn't really matter what the asset is. This is Europan. Let's just take it all the way up to the 4-hour chart then. So on the 4-hour candles, it's exactly the same thing. Here, yesterday, we had this strong downtrend here, so same principle. At the moment, so we had, so for this morning and today, let's just make that a bit bigger. It's suggesting no trade because we've got wicks to the north and south. So far today, you wouldn't be trading the euro pound here. What's euro yen telling us? Let's take this up to the 4 if you're trading the 4-hour. Again, no trade because we've got indecision. Obviously, the higher the time frame, the stronger the move. And again, very, very strong move on euro yen over the last few days. Here we go, all the way up here, from all the way down here at 129.50 all the way up to 130, you know, 50, 200 pip move. Very, very strong move. And as you might expect, indecision thereafter. So no trade on euro yen. And you just do the same thing. It's the same principle regardless of time frame. And that's the beauty. In a sense, the Heikin Ashi candles make it easier and simpler because it takes a lot of the noise away when you're literally trading the pure price action. So again, euro yen obviously weakened yesterday, clear also this week. So we've had a strong move in euro yen, and then we've turned around indecision on the, this is 4-hour euro yen indecision yesterday morning. So we're out of that. Would you go short? Well, maybe, because it's, look, you would expect that perhaps to move down, but that would have taken you out. You would have closed that one out there. Actually, you wouldn't have done, would you? If you'd got in short here, your stop loss would have been here. You'd have still shorted that, even though that was a lot of indecision. So you'd probably got to your target there. And again, target setting with this, you know, use the ATR. You can use similar sort of things. So sometimes, again, I just add the ATR as an indicator. And because the principle's the same, it's all about trading the trend, and that's what it is, regardless of the time frame again. But again, here you see this is keeping you out because it's not saying anything. So we've gone short, indecision, possibly short, but then the next it kept you out because it didn't happen, didn't trigger. Again indecision, and again indecision. Now we've turned around all the way there. So you want, what you're really looking for are these ones, these clear, no wick candles to the bottom or to the top. So you're looking for trends. And obviously the higher the time frame, the stronger the trend. So yes, absolutely. So whoever asked about, let me just tie that back again. So whoever asked about different time frames, absolutely works on lots of different time frames. And if you, for instance, if I just bring up, you know, let's just bring up the even, you know, indices, because the indices are like the S&P 500 is a great trending asset. So let's just do this with the Heikin Ashi as well. Before I go, if there are any questions, I've run over time as usual. Let's bring up to the daily, and you see how strong it is on the daily. Let's just insert view, navigate, and let's just click on the Heikin Ashi for that. There you go. Okay, so clear that. So let's just get rid of that for you. So there you can see it's very, very clear here. The strong trend we've had in the, this is the daily chart. This is up at the daily chart. This is the S&P 500, and again, it's a very clear, you know, very, very strong start. Let's just take the grid off. It's a bit very strong. It's actually, and change that. Actually, change it to a line chart, so we get rid of. There we go. So very, very clear, strong trend. A bit of indecision on whatever day it was, but no, it was re-established. So you wouldn't have just perhaps you might have bagged some of the profits there, then got back in there. Indecision, but it was still going up. Indecision, no change of colour. Ooh, big change of colour, change of short, and off we go down. So now we remain red and there's short, but the trend short. Lots of indecision, as you can see here, and that's exactly what we're seeing in the market. Wicks to the south, indecision, but still down, but lots of short position would have been closed there. So perhaps today looks like perhaps another dip down on the stock markets here. So again, very, very simple to trade, and it's very, very good for trends, and that's why it's very clear and takes a lot of the nonsense away from there. So thank you for your time today, guys. I hope that was useful. I'm really excited about Heikin Ashi. They're very simple candles to trade. So remember, it's all about the lack of wicks basically, and the strength of the candle is what you're looking for. So tomorrow we're looking at Fibonacci live analysis, obviously every Tuesday. Andrea's going to be looking at cryptocurrencies as we start the new month next week. News analysis with Otto on the 5th, hedging on the 12th, the Wyckoff method, one of the oldest and still relevant trading methods. One of the Richard Wyckoff, one of the original founders of technical analysis. I'll be talking about that on the 11th. Volume analysis with Andrew on the 18th, RSI on the 19th, scalping again, intraday, standard candles at the end of the month, and money management at the end of the month again. So thank you very much for your time today, ladies and gentlemen. Any questions before I close? Hopefully you've all got the app on your phone from Google Play or from the App Store. You've all seen my books before. Any questions about the books, please let me know. And email me at webinars.hotforex, friend me at Stuart Hotforex Cowell on the Facebook page, the analysis Facebook page, and follow our analysis on hotforex.com. So thank you very much for your time. Yazan, thank you for your very kind comments and all your questions today. That was very good. And do keep in touch and give it a go. Give it a go. I like Heikin Ashi because of its simplicity and its clarity. If there isn't a wick, it looks interesting. Big candle, no wick to the top of the south or to the north or the south, and it's the right color. That's looking like a trade for me. Okay, thanks for your time, everybody. I'll see you again next time. Okay, all the best. Bye bye.